And this second experience I had, now I want to give a little disclaimer before I do this or share this experience, because the technique or what I was shown to do, I don't know if it would work for everybody, but it was on it's with my particular experiences that I'm having, of course, on my journey. So I wanted to share that because I'm not sure if it's like a psychic technique or like what, but it might not work for everybody, but at least it gives you kind of an idea of what's possible. So anyways, I was sitting down and I was singing the NUUU a little bit, and either my true self or the golden guides shown me, it was like I was watching TV. They shown me to imagine the NUUU over my third eye area, kind of inside my head. In no particular way, I just imagined it like it was a ball. Like it was kind of like a ball that you could hold, probably the size of a softball. And so I imagined the NUUU there, and they said, okay, imagine a NUUU over your heart. Same thing, and I imagined it like a ball, and it was kind of glowing, the little NU. It was just NU. And I was looking at them, and they said, okay, now you need to bring them together. You need to bring the ball from your head down into your chest area, and then bring that heart, the ball over your heart, into your chest area as well. And you need to hold them there for, they didn't say a specific amount of time, but it was almost like you'll know when. And it's very interesting that they had me, or that I was shown to bring them into the center of my chest area, because I had a experience before where I'm not exactly sure what level you could say that I was on, or if it was anything like that. But I remember I saw everybody around me, I saw the room sort of strip away, and I was on a totally different level. And everybody was these free beings of real light. They were just this pure light. And at the center of them, right around, not over the heart, but more so like where your sternum is on your rib cage, there was this bright light on every single being. It was like a sun. It was like a sun. And I knew that the very center of their being was within this light core that everybody has, and everybody has it. And I knew that you could almost step into it like another world, and I had one too. And so anyways, this little NUUU and the NUUU over my heart, the one over my head and my heart, when I was bringing them together into the center, I kept singing the NUUU, of course, and trying to keep that centered. And I didn't expect it to be automatic, and I didn't expect it to change. But what was very interesting is that it did not want to stay centered. They wanted to return to their spots. The heart one wanted to go back, and the mind one wanted to go back. They didn't want to come into kind of unison type of thing. Well, I kept singing the NUUU, and I kept focusing, and I kept holding them there, and it took a lot of focus. It almost like, I was almost getting winded, or like kind of tired. I didn't realize it would be like an exercise. So anyways, I'm bringing them together, and then all of a sudden I see myself in the third person, and I didn't realize, or at least I could not recognize before, that I was totally wrapped in my mind. And I've heard that before from Helen, who was here before, like a seer lady. There was some things about the mind that she told me about, and it's been referenced before also, but I could not see just how much it was taking place, or how much that I was encased in it, because it was like a cocoon, how like it was like a sheath almost, and I could see myself sitting on my little mattress here, singing the NUUU, holding these two things in unison. And it was like from my top of my head down to my feet, kind of, and running underneath me, probably about a foot or two. It was almost like an ellipse shape, or like not quite an oval, but more so like I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the shape of vesica, but it was almost like that. It just was like a pointy oval, basically. And it was all blue. It was all blue, like a kind of royal blue, or like a deeper blue with kind of, it almost looked like if you got closer, it almost had like silvery kind of stuff in it. I'm not exactly sure, but it related to the mind is what I could see, is that it related to the mind. And I didn't realize, again, that I was so wrapped up in it that it was almost like you couldn't see through it. Like if you pushed up against it, it would just kind of stretch out. You wouldn't end up on the outside of it. It would just kind of follow you everywhere and sort of spread to whatever it is that you interacted with. you know. And so again, holding these things in unison and seeing myself objectively, all of a sudden that peeled away. That peeled away almost like it was a type of shield or something like that, and it just went away. It disappeared. It came back to above my head and it disappeared. And all of a sudden it was replaced by a golden sheath instead. And I knew that this golden sheath related to the heart. Not necessarily my physical, literal, personal kind of heart, or like how people say, oh, look to your heart. And that's kind of like a creational idea, but sort of like my real awareness, looking to that, you know, even just more so along the lines of my intuition. Because that's been a struggle for me also, is learning to really, I don't want to use the word trust, but like really seeing through the mind and the suggestions that it offers, really being able to tune into that intuition. And so I could see that this golden kind of auric sheath that took me over, or sort of like encased me now instead of the blue one, was more so related to that, the heart of my intuition, and kind of utilizing that to make my decisions instead of the mind. And so I could see that right now, because I've been covered in the mind so long, that I need to step into that kind of space completely. But see, again, some individuals might actually need to balance that out or utilize more of the mind. It just kind of depends on where each individual's at on their respective journey. And I could see that, because I knew, or had the awareness that I can't keep myself in that forever type of thing, that eventually I'm going to have to balance it out with the mind. And of course, this just relates to like a creation. It's not like the real awareness and things like that, but it was something that sort of helped me to get through myself. So furthering my process of coming to that position where I can sort of wake up and recognize my true self and seeing things like that. So that was my experience there. I just wanted to share that.
Yes, Jeremy, no, that's cool. And it takes time. So all of that's fine. Your mind and whatever, you just learn to see it. And it's a lot. And as long as we're here, you're going to see it. So I've seen so many people come and go, and they learn these ideas here. They learn these ideas. But they don't realize that it takes a long time, like a tree, like an oak tree growing. It doesn't, you plant the seed, you see it growing, but it's 150 years later and still it's growing. And so as you come across these created ideas that are being presented, yes, and the experiences themselves, because they are references all to your real awareness. So keep that in mind. And that is that, people see them in certain lights. They have certain experiences at times. They will see themselves as angels with big wings and think, oh, I'm an angel. And they'll just kind of go with that. And it's like, oh, I've arrived. I'm an angel now. But actually, that's just a very momentary experience. And maybe you'll have it for lifetimes, whatever. But there is a whole lot more. So again, everything is okay. And these things just come and go is what they do, because it's the real awareness and learning to really see how the is sees. That's the reality of it. But it's very gradual. And me too, I see my experience. And as long as I'm here, it's the old idea of being grounded also here, doing what we're doing. And Rebazar and the boys, many of them are here. Rebazar still has his body here. And it's okay. And as you go through these experiences, they're trying to set each person up to where they become familiar and they start really adapting to these new realities, you might say. In a particular way, a step at a time, to where the personal self doesn't decide to, go back to its personal self, which so many times really happens, just like what you're experiencing it. Your experience there where, the mind and the heart and whatever, especially the mind, wants to jump around a little bit, because you can only be indifferent to it for so long. Because it's as long as you've got a body here, it likes the activity. So you're just seeing objectively what the mind is doing. And I've had these experiences where it shows that there's that literal side of me, that very, very literal side. And that's okay. It's all okay. And as long as you keep focused and keep trying to see this reality for what it is, you need that other part of you as a comparison constantly so that you are better able to see it. So again, nothing's negated, nothing's good or bad. It's just an experience. We go through it, we share it, we see what's going on, we share with each other. I learn from what you're saying and others saying too, because I pick it up here and then I sort it out according to, I fine tune it just like you filter water or something like that, to where I can get it the best I can and more so intuitive and real with the real awareness, etc. But give it time, and just like that little girl that was wanting to play with you, have fun too at the same time, and I'm sure you do. But again, what happens so much of the time over the years I've watched this is, again, people, they get experiences, they get the knowledge, and at some point, it's like almost like a drug addiction. They want more and more and more, but not really seeing the real subtleness, like the air you breathe. That's closer to the isness and the sun shining than anything that we can consider, and to recognize that. And so most of the time they will go on their way because they're looking for more stimulus. Even with the real awareness, it's looking for stimulus until it really focuses truly intently on learning to see what all life is, what the is. Yeah, but that's a big picture. So there's no time element to it, and it's actually better that you don't try to rush into it or chase it, that you actually let it go as you have the experiences, let them go, because it's like going into a room, you learn something, like a classroom, you learn something, but you don't stay in there. You don't stay in that classroom. You don't stay in that experience. You leave, you go outside, you do other things, you travel around, etc. You see, you move around that view. And so these are little hints that, again, are references. All in creation are references. And so this is why I keep saying this, is because what I've been through, and you look at the world, they've solidified the ideas and experiences that they've went through. Just like Buddha under the banyan tree and getting enlightenment, that's still there. It's all so solidified that, it's like old rotten fruit. That's not it, because the people there that are agreeing to that, or Eckankar and all these things, Scientology, what have you, they're so solidified, they can't see anything else. They can't see it as a reference and an experience. They see it as a reality and an absolute. And that's very easy to do too, isn't it? So that's why I keep moving things around, and with a new language, etc., that bothers people, because again, it's not about literal, but at the same time, sharing something with people. So these experiences that we're having are pretty far out. And so again, how you bring it around and try to relate to others as to what they're having, etc., and at the same time, seeing the experiences for what they are. So just like the sun shining and out there in the blue sky, what else is there? It's all awareness, isn't it? Without ideas, without experiences, there's nothing else but awareness to recognize. And it takes time to be able to, relate and live that position. And especially while we have bodies here. And so, but, those that have the bodies and are staying here, etc., I don't see myself as, I don't want any more lifetimes here or whatever. That's the old nonsense. No, it's an isness now. That's it. There's no time involved. I'm here. I'm doing what I'm doing, and however long it takes, whatever. It's all an isness now, and I like that. There's your freedom from restriction. And actually, life is not about freedom. It's about awareness. That's even better, because you don't consider anything. You're just aware, and now you know what to do with all life. That's the fun part. Yes, thank you, Jeremy.